Keep in mind that during the past year, CCSD has already sustained $133 million in cuts. We lost expansion of full-day kindergarten before it was born, a direct hit on the student population that could have benefited most. Empowerment schools, the foundation of the governor's original education platform, never saw the light of day. However, generous private donors continue to invest in the empowerment program. School improvement grants, many of which were used for tutorials and programs to help students pass their proficiency exams, were cut by the state. Replacement of aging buses has been deferred. Critical positions have been left vacant. Dollars designated for textbooks and instructional equipment were reduced by 50%. Elimination of teacher mentoring programs leaves us unable to help improve the skills of teachers who want and need assistance. Elimination of school positions means greater work for those who remain, whether it's teachers with even larger classes or counselors and nurses who already have too many students to serve. Elimination of programs like block scheduling and AVID mean cutting programs that help move students towards graduation and restricting opportunities for students to discover elective interests in high school. Reduction in budgets for sports and extracurricular activities diminishes our ability to provide a well-rounded education for students. The elimination of over 260 non-school positions will have a negative impact on how promptly we can respond to everything from parent phone calls to broken computers. And we are now preparing for the likelihood of employee layoffs at all levels. The only happy ending for us in a national or global economic crisis is to return to a point where our goods and services and information are needed and desired by the rest of the world. Nevada most certainly is not investing in education to the point where we can say our children will be competitive in that arena. I must add that higher education is facing all these same issues: a loss of funding, elimination of courses for students, and a reduction in staff. Across the board, education in Nevada is systemically being reduced to minimal services. Ironically, education is not the problem in an economic crisis. Education is a solution. Yet it remains in the balance as if compromising the future of our children is a sensible consideration. The governor talked about Nevada investing in renewable energy as one means of providing jobs and returning to prosperity. And that would be great. But let's not place ourselves in a position where we have to import the talent and the intellect to make that dream a reality. Those jobs should go to Nevadans, and they will if our schools and universities have the resources necessary to educate our children. From the beginning of the budget crisis, my goal has been to protect the classroom as much as possible. We have thousands of extraordinary teachers who are already going above and beyond, and I intend to protect them as much as I can. I asked all non-school sites to make 12 to 20% cuts so that school cuts would be limited to 3% or less. Now, I've been criticized for that strategy. Many folks say that the only way to get people's attention is to eliminate sports and fine arts and transportation. However, I believe that my job is to offer our students the best experience that resources allow. Some people have suggested that all non-teaching positions be eliminated, especially those in administration. While management is always a popular target, the fact is no organization, corporation, military unit, or family can function without leadership. 89% of the district's general fund employees work in the schools, and the majority of them are teachers. Another 6% of district employees work in transportation. The remaining 4.8% of staff includes central administrators, but it is predominantly secretarial, clerical, and other support staff. Like any business, we have operational functions such as payroll, maintenance, transportation, and others that require oversight. Our ratio of employees to administrators is about 35-1. That's already a far leaner ratio than I can find in other public or private organizations. It's difficult for most of us to grasp the enormity of the cuts we've already made and those that have been proposed. In a 3-year period, we will be losing about $375 million in operating revenue. To give that some context, $375 million equates to the salaries and benefits of about 6,000 teachers for those 3 years. Presently, we have 18,000 teachers, and they represent the largest expenditure in our budget. Clearly, it would be impossible to cope with the loss of that amount and leave the classroom untouched. I should also point out that CCSD is one of the most audited entities in the state. I welcome that scrutiny. We have a huge budget, and it is appropriate that there's plenty of oversight. The audits always make recommendations for improvement, but we also have received many commendations. Overall, our audits have been favorable, including those imposed by the legislature. They consistently show us to be responsible stewards of tax dollars. CCSD compares well with peer districts, and a greater percent of every operating dollar goes directly to the classroom than in most districts across the country. While the state must cope with the current loss of revenue, we also need to take steps to protect education from cuts every time the economy falters. The Clark County School District is introducing a bill this legislative session to accomplish just that. Every year, taxes are raised in the name of education. What most people don't know, however, is that when revenues are strong, the excess taxes raised in the name of education don't go to schools. They are placed into the state general's fund for use in other state programs. In fact, a recent study by the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce noted that reversion of education dollars constitutes a significant supplement to the state budget as a whole. In short, hundreds of millions of dollars have been diverted away from education over the years and placed in other budgets. The Board of Trustees and I believe that if people are taxed under the impressions that the funds are for education, then the funds in fact should be reserved for education. We propose that when revenues are strong, the additional dollars should go into a stabilization account for education so that services can be preserved during difficult times like these. At the very moment that critical and creative thinking are imperative, we are beginning to dismantle higher education, while at the K-12 level, we are making additional cuts in a state that already funds at the bottom of the nation. Whether you're a parent or not, there is no way that the crippling effect of a substandard education should be considered as a solution for our current problems. Degrading our education system ultimately will cost more than it saves. The economy will recover, but students who are denied adequate opportunities will forever pay the price. I urge policymakers and citizens to take the long view and protect the asset most critical to ensuring and sustaining Nevada's prosperity, a sound system of public education. Thank you.